Broads Media.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. Huge game on Sunday night, and I'm not going to bite into anything that's happening nationally today. We did that over the last 3 pods or so where I played audio of David Carr, and I played audio from others. I don't care what the Buffalo Bills are saying. How about you go figure out what the hell is wrong with your head coach for using such a disgusting terrorist attack to try and teach team chemistry. How about you focus what's wrong with your own damn locker room and culture there, Phillips, okay? And I'm not worried about Joey Bosa talking about blueprints. I got one thing on my mind, and that's Dak Prescott in Dallas, and the Cowboys are playing well. And in years past, we were on the side of playing teams that weren't maybe necessarily great. And our rebuttal as a city was we can't control our schedule. All we're doing is crushing and killing opponents that the league scheduled for us. What else can we do? Well, I'll keep that same energy because for everyone saying Dallas hasn't beat anybody and their only win against a team with the winning record happened to be the Seattle Seahawks, who are barely an over 500 style of team. They're no juggernaut. Yeah, but what can they do about it? They're going out there and they're playing good football. They're beating teams heavily and grossly. You know, like, I don't care that it's the Panthers, Jets, Giants, Rams, Commanders, Patriots. They have one job to do, and that's make a statement against these teams week in and week out, and they are putting up 40 points, putting up 30-plus points. Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy, in my eyes today, are more in the MVP race than Jalen Hurts is after what happened against San Francisco. Now, one game could sway that heavily. If Jalen Hurts goes into Dallas, throws for 300-plus yards, no interceptions, no fumbles, throws for 3 touchdowns, and maybe even sprinkles in a push-tush, a tush-push for 1 extra, and now he gets 1 on the ground as well. Well, then, yeah, I'll change that narrative. But as we sit here today, I think Purdy and Dak Prescott are above him. There's no sugarcoating this. The passing game right now, defensively speaking, with Sean Desai and all these new added pieces, have been a disaster. And now you add Shaq Leonard. So let me get this straight. There were a lot of problems roster-wise. You go pick up Roby. Remember, Zach Cunningham wasn't there from day one. He was there earlier on, but I'm just saying he was added. Maybe we remove that. Maybe that's unfair because he was added so early before everything kicked off. That fine. But Roby, Leonard, and then Byard, and now we're hearing this team talk about miscommunication, and there's problems with talking out on the field. Well, no shit that they can't communicate properly. They're all new, and they're all getting thrown into the fire. Roby hasn't been very well. All right, I don't think that he's really moved the needle for me aggressively. Byard's been disappointing, and I don't know what Shaq Leonard is. I know I'm not expecting him to be in his prime anymore, but maybe with the front that the Eagles have, can they be so aggressive and so dominant that it allows Shaq to play with some freedom? I don't know. I just hope that his smarts and his knowledge and just so much information that he has, that good, smart football IQ, can have him at least way more sound than anything we've seen with some of the linebackers that have been thrown out there. But CeeDee Lamb can crush you. Ferguson can have a big day. Brandon Cooks can make some catches. Your front has to get home. And I may sound like a very scared puppy today. Believe it or not, this is actually the most positive I've felt since the week started, and it's still not very high. And I'm on WIP tonight, if you're listening to this on Friday, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., and right now, unless anything changes with my tone, and it might, because I do feel myself inching closer to positivity, even though I'm not there yet. I feel like I'm going on those airwaves and I'm asking for help. I'm desperate. Please do something, say something, call in and give me optimism to make me feel better, because I always go back to NLCS Game 4 and after that, the Phillies still won some baseball games, and they were in a position, Game 6, Game 7 at home, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola at home, and I still felt like, okay, they can squeeze by, but after what happened in Game 4, I was never the same. And after what happened to the 49ers, I don't know if I will ever be the same again unless something is so monstrous. Like, if they do what the 49ers did to them, to the Cowboys on the road in that building, then I think you could put the pieces back together. I think then my entire heart will be back into one piece. That's what it will take. And if it's not that, well, then I'm still going to have this weird feeling. If they squeeze by, win by 1, they win 17-14, let's say they win by 3 in a weird grinded out game, and your special teams, it's a field goal late with 3 seconds to go, I'd be stoked to beat the Cowboys twice, especially in a season like this, and what that means for the NFC #1 seed. I mean, I'd be stoked from that angle, but it wouldn't be enough to bring all those pieces and super glue it with Gorilla Glue again together. Does that make sense? That's sort of just where I'm at. But Hurts needs to play better. There's no denying that Jalen Hurts has to see the field better. He has to make quicker decisions. They need to establish run more. I can't see 9 carries or 8 carries. No, we have to keep plugging away. There's something to be said about wearing a defense down. All right? Find a way to get something established. You have the best offensive line in football. DeAndre Swift is damn good enough to run behind that. Get some concepts going where you dive deep into it, you rely heavy on it, and now these linebackers of Dallas and these defenders on Dallas, Michael Parsons, they're out there for a long time because you're milking these drives, and they have to tackle you to the ground, and if you do that from quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, well, maybe halfway through quarter 3 when you're in the second half, there's fatigue because you've asked the other team to drag you to the ground. You know, like the Eagles can't even make a damn tackle, so it's so easy to get to the touchdown or to the end zone to score a touchdown. They don't know how to wrap up. Eli Pinky Ricks, remember, that's his nickname now because it only takes a pinky push for him to get his arms thrown off your body. It's a disgrace. But can you wear down that defense? And they have to get the run game more established. They just do. They do. We need to lean on it. This team works best when they have you pretty much on your heels guessing. Is it a pass? Is it a run? If it's constant dropbacks and looking for bombs, can you get A.J. Brown going? I think you can get shots off against their secondary. I've seen Bland get attacked. I've seen Bland get picked on. I've also seen some pick sixes as well with the Cowboys defense, but I'm just saying, come on now, with the emphasis that the other team has to probably put a lot of stock into Dallas Goedert, can that open up the floodgates for somebody else? The answer to me is yes, you should be able to. Now, there's all sorts of graphics about maybe the lack of motion with this offense and how this relates to maybe the year when Nick Sirianni had more of an input, and then before Shane Steichen became the head guy and became more of what we talked about with the flow of the offense. I'm not surprised that we might be in a predicament where Nick Sirianni is too much and maybe too blah. Like, that's what makes the 49ers. I'll never forget this. I used to debate people all the time with Doug Peterson because the knock at the end with him was it was very vanilla. And I remember nonstop fighting people about, well, it doesn't matter if it's vanilla. If it worked, no, it does matter. It does matter. Why is Kyle Shanahan so successful? Guys are in motion. There's so much confusion. The Eagles were losing track of guys pre-snap. That means the 49ers are winning the matchup before the ball is even snapped into Brock Purdy's hands. Why can't we do more of that? Why can't we have the Cowboys shuffling, trying to talk to somebody else? Now the ball snapped. Now they're looking around. They don't know what to do. And there's the middle of the field wide open because someone left their guy. Motion is important. You gotta get loose, get creative, get very unique. It throws everything off. Why can't we get those concepts more incorporated? Yeah, very vanilla, very stale. That catches up with you. It does. It makes it easier. What you're doing is helping out the opponent. Why would you make it easier for other teams' defensive coordinators? The 49ers, I think they heard about the noise with the tight end on Reddick. I think they disguised some things and moved guys in motion, made things look like they were going to do one thing, and then, boy, what do you know? It's something completely different. Come on. So it wouldn't shock me at all if there was a Nick Sirianni too much problem happening here. There's never too much on TickPick, though. There's so many tickets for so many sporting events, so many concerts, and they're so great as a company that they give you $10 off of your purchase when you go there, and they have the best prices guaranteed. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces. They are so confident they guarantee it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, you get 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credit. And there's also upfront pricing, so no more doing the math in your head to prepare for how much extra you plan on spending on top of listed prices on other sites, because the price you see on TickPick is the price you'll pay at checkout, period, end of story. So there's no added service fees, hidden fees, or otherwise. If you click the link down below in the description, my promo code BRODES is already activated. So from there, you can get $10 off if you're spending over $99 or more, which, is a free $10. Take advantage of it. Call one of your loved ones, cousins, significant other, kids. Take them to a game down in South Philly, right? Okay. Are they going to go pick up Sue next? I saw this thing. Oh, Sue, is he going to make a return? What's he doing? Is he hanging now? Where's he going to be? It just blows my mind that here we are. And I love Howie to death. And Howie has done a lot of great things, but it's just sucky that here we are, week 14 is it? Because they're 10-2. They had the bye already. That would be 13 week 14. And now it would be, let's add someone to the interior defensive line. Let's add a nickel. Let's add this guy. Let's add that guy. Let's get a linebacker. I don't know. I mean, you're getting a lot of the scrap off the streets, and they all once had some pop to their name, but not so much anymore, which makes a lot of sense. That's why they're available. That's why they're hanging out. That's why the Indianapolis Colts say, no, thank you. Not that they don't have one of the craziest owners in sports, and every single decision is the right decision that these franchises make, and we'll see. I do expect Shaq to have a little more fuel in the tank, but I said the same thing about Byard. I said the same thing about Roby. They are really hurting you right now because of the lack of talent in that secondary. And if your front can't get home, and I would anticipate that the Dallas Cowboys understand this and they know how to negate it. Okay, what can we do if we are Dak Prescott? Let's get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. What can we do if we are Dak Prescott? Let's get the ball to Ferguson. If we get the ball out quickly, that won't allow any time for the Eagles to get to us. Now, here are some targets and receptions according to Pro Football Focus of how Week 9 went against the Cowboys last time. When Darius Slay was in coverage, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 62 yards. This is when CeeDee Lamb was tearing you apart, 11 catches for 191. The guy was on a damn mission. So Slay was on him, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 62 yards. Eli Ricks, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 65 yards. Brown, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 35 yards. Reed Blankenship, 2 targets, 0 catches. Byard, 1 target, 1 catch. Cunningham, 1 target, 1 catch. So keep in mind, Zach Cunningham is another body that will be out there. I guess they tried to slip Christian Ellis through waivers. A ton of teams put in some claims for him. He's now on the New England Patriots. He can help out on special teams. And one of the best parts about this team, believe it or not, this season was their special teams. And it is completely a 180 from where we were last year with that core. I don't know how much Christian Ellis is is changing your entire special teams unit, but there was a lot to be said about people clearly valuing that, and we'll see what that means, I guess. Before we head to the phones, just to summarize here, I'm leaking oil. But it can be fixed. If I go to the auto mechanic and I go to the shop and they'd say, hey, you got an issue here. We got an oil leak. We can get this done and we can do this. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Pep Boys. Thanks, AutoZone, for the phone call. Just don't ask me to get 4 new tires and a new engine for $8,372. I'm here just to fix the oil leak, right? Am I getting a phone call that's good news? Or am I getting the phone call that says, ooh, I got bad news for you. We can't fix it, and there's a part that it would take a long time to come in. What am I getting here? What am I getting? It can be fixed, but what you need to do is somehow explode the way the 49ers did, because I lose sleep thinking how this team that I thought could never, ever, 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 ever not show up. All I think about is how they didn't show up. And I should be able to put that by me. I should be able to look at all the positives this team has done. And there's no way that one should shake me the way it has shaked me, or shooken me, or shaketh me, or I'm shooken. But I'm shooken, damn it. All right, I'm shooken, shaken. I'm shook. I hate thinking this way against Dallas. Gross. As much credit as I've given Dallas for playing good football and for just handling opponents because everything else is out of their control, the reason why I feel this way is less about Dallas and, once again, more just about the Eagles. I'm looking at this strictly with Kelly green eyes. I'm looking at this with midnight green eyes. What can the Eagles do to flip the narrative? How can they play to shut it all up? How can they bounce back? Forget Dallas. Now, it would be different if they were playing the Giants this week or if they were playing someone else. So there's a little bit of the team you're seeing being a spectacular home team right now, and it seems like they're playing their best football, and they're crisp, and they're confident, and they have a quarterback that everybody in that locker room seems to appreciate. But this is why I always laugh about quarterback debates after 1 game, 3 games, 5 games. Dak Prescott is better than average in this league, right? But there was a season where he threw a lot of interceptions. There was a season where he turned the ball over a lot. Then there was a season where he was a monster and amazing. And then there were some average years. And then there's a year like this where he's playing great football again. Lamar Jackson, oh my God, the guy's a bum. The guy stinks. Yeah, now go look at the Baltimore Ravens. We sometimes have such a knee-jerk reaction to who a quarterback is. Year by year, these guys are all different. Joe Burrow is incredible, but he struggles to stay healthy. Not for his own fault. When the offensive line was in shambles, he gets that team to a Super Bowl. All right? I mean, the guy's a magician, and some are more consistent than others, and part of being an incredible QB in this league is year in and year out being at the top, year in and year out, being an MVP, not having those hiccup years. And I get that. I totally do. But for anyone making big assumptions on who Jalen Hurts is now because of the way he looks, and well, there's a lot of variables here, right? I mean, these same Cowboys fans that are boasting and putting their chest out and giving us a big swarm of confidence, and they won't shut up, and they're annoying as hell. You hated Dak Prescott a year ago and wanted that guy gone. You wanted that guy out of town, draft a new guy. Jerry Jones isn't gonna blah, 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 blah. Jerry Jones this, Jerry Jones that. Now what? He's the most electric quarterback of all time? It just doesn't make sense. So while Jalen Hurts is going through some struggles, I don't lose the big sight of it. But in the now, I'm just concerned because I don't know if he's healthy. He doesn't look right to me. His knee, the knee brace, the guy is a warrior, and he plays through a ton, and he won't tell you what he's dealing with. Everything is behind the scenes. Everything is quiet. He doesn't want to make that the talking point. He doesn't want to make that the storyline because there's no excuses. Keep the main thing the main thing. We have to go win a football game. But the eye test, it's not passing the eye test. It's not passing the smell test because he doesn't look like himself right now. And I know what himself is. This isn't really him. Like, you don't go, well, there were a lot of things that showed in spurts really him. Because you don't have second half comebacks. You don't have 30 points in a second half. You don't win a game when you're down 10 and beat all these consecutive teams with winning records without having a taste of the real Jalen Hurts. It's absolutely flirted in there. But really, that 49ers game, it looked off. And maybe I'm not just giving enough credit to the 49ers and what they did. We all mock Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa and be like, oh, you shut up. You got beat by Lane Johnson. But, I mean, that's the most wild I've seen Jalen Hurts, and that's the most pathetic that I've really seen outside of the first couple of drives. Once they settled in, the 49ers defense, that is, they had nothing. They were eliminated. Their offense stunk. So, I don't know. I'm nervous. And I'm nervous because of how the Eagles played. Less about Dallas, even though it's sprinkled in there. More about us. It's about us. And I hated what I saw against the 49ers, and it broke me. Okay, let's start things off on this Football Friday with Sean. What's up, Sean?
Here's my thoughts going into this Dallas game after the beating that was handed to us on Sunday. To me, the playoffs start for the Eagles with this game Sunday night. I know that there's all kind of tiebreaker scenarios if they lose another one with the Niners and Lions. I don't care. To ensure home field, and most importantly that bye, just win out. The drive for 5, I think there's 5 games left, starts Sunday. And we've heard the coaches are supposed to be better, the players are going to do this, that, and the other. Okay. I personally am tired of the excuses. I want to see it implemented out on the field. I want to see it look different. I want to see a 4-quarter effort, offense, defense, and special teams coming together. When you play better teams, you play better coaches. Mike McCarthy is an idiot, but Dan Quinn isn't. And if Brian Johnson and Sirianni don't game plan better, they're going to lose again. And the season that we thought had a lot of promise is going to end up going up in flames.
So a lot of things that I agree with you on, Sean. I don't give a damn about, well, the tiebreaker, this and that. There's so many people that are trying to see what happens if the Eagles lose. What happens if the Eagles win? Let's break it all down. I'll worry about that if the disaster occurs, all right? If it happens to be another massacre and we are toast and things look dreadful and they lose and now we got to figure out what this means, fine. But until we get there, I'm not even diving down that path. Now, you bring up the 4-quarter thing. I really haven't seen this team play 4 quarters all year. Either that's who they are, they're not a I'm playing all 4 quarters team, which is problematic in its own right, or it's finally time for that to flash, okay? It's time for us to recognize that they can, and this is the week that they do. I'm going to try and stress the how do they look eye test, because somehow against San Francisco, knowing everything that happened, they were unable to match the intensity. Now, if you're telling me 2 weeks in a row, not only is this a team you despise, but it's your division fucking rival. You're going to their fucking stadium. If you no-show again, forget execution on a slant, okay? Forget the lack of calling a run. If you don't even have the will and the determination to bring the right energy to compete, then everything else is irrelevant. If you're getting manhandled because they are working way harder than you and they're beating you up in the trenches and they're tearing you apart, I don't care about a run play or a call play. Now, that's secondary. If they do bring the energy, then we start getting into the meat and potatoes and the strategy and the X and O and the design and why this and why that and why a screen and why a QB draw and is Jalen running, is he not, an RPO, all that. But before we even get there, do they bring it? Because they didn't bring it against San Francisco. And you may think that that is a dumb question. In what world are you even questioning that? I won't question them. I don't want to question them. I have to question them because of what they did to us last week. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at them.
Yo, what's up, bro? It's That is definitely one of the most frustrating games I've watched. As a fan, I mean, it just was brutal. I mean, and just such a great first quarter. Even though we kicked 2 field goals in the red zone, I still felt fairly confident because obviously the Niners defense is a top 3 defense in the league, no doubt. So I thought, hey, getting points was big time. Even at halftime when it was 14-6 and stuff like that, it just, the game was still so early. But I really am disappointed because I thought the turning point of the game was when that scuffle with Dre Greenlaw, him slamming Devontae Smith down, getting a 15-yard penalty, and then pokes or tries to punch Dom in the face, which riled up the whole bench. And then we go down and convert a 3rd and 11, which was not easy, bringing an all-out blitz, and then score a touchdown to make it 21-13. I really thought that maybe that was going to be a little bit of a turning point. You look back at that play, it fired us up. We were a little bit lethargic, and it fired us up. And then once again, what does happen? We get into a 3rd and long situation, 3rd and 7, I believe, and we let him convert. Reed Blankenship, I mean, yeah, I think it was Ayuk was the receiver, was right there. You got to come down with that, dude. In games like this, you got to come down with that pick. Would it have been a hard catch? Absolutely. But it also did hit him in both of his hands. And we've known that Reed Blankenship does have that kind of, that ball hawk, I guess you could say, ability before he had that really nice interception against Washington. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, just so hard to watch. I mean, and then you were pointing to in the video, I'm sorry, this is a little long, but when you were pointing into the video that you just did with the Eagles and the Niners, the Eagles 1,000% should have gone for it on 4th and 2.
No doubt. And I appreciate the call. I think you brought up some excellent points here from that 49ers game that will matter and have an impact on the outcome. 3rd and longs, 3rd down, red zone defense, red zone offense. Those are areas when you win and lose football games, you can go back and say, well, we didn't really have enough completions when we were in the red zone. We were settling for 3. Nothing hurt more than when you dominated as much as you dominated. It was so one-sided. Brock Purdy looked like he was afraid to play football. Okay, 3 and out. Then Sidney Brown tackles Christian McCaffrey for a loss on the third drive, on the 1st down on the 3rd drive. You go, oh, baby, this ain't stopping. It's a Mack truck. Good luck. You're going to get beat up. And it's 7-6. 7-6. Because you couldn't score the touchdowns. And really, one of those touchdowns, when it was 14-6, if Josh Sweat doesn't go off sides or isn't lined up wrong. So, hey, to summarize that call, because there's some key things here. If there's a play to be made, like Reed Blankenship missing an interception, that could be the difference in a turning point. That could be the difference in going down and scoring 7 and sucking the life out of that building in the second half. Can't drop those. Don't care how difficult it is. Don't care anything about a tip ball. It could have happened. Go make the play. And then Josh Sweat can't be lined up off sides. Derek Barnett leaves. Someone, I guess, has to pay homage. We got to do this for my brother, Derek Barnett. Let's take stupid penalties for our guy, Derek Barnett. It's what Josh Sweat has done over the last couple of weeks. Can't happen. Cannot. All right. Do we take another one? Yeah, why not? Well, we'll take one more.
Hey, bros. Love the show. I feel like you just have to get Swift more involved. I mean, he's an explosive play waiting to happen. And then on the first 2 drives, they look great, but you cannot just get 2 field goals. You know what I mean? Field goals get you beat, touchdowns win you games. And the 49ers, every time they were in the red zone, they cashed in with a touchdown, and we didn't. The pass rush looked great in the beginning, but as CMC started to wear down the defense, things deteriorated fast, and you kind of seen the back end guys get exposed. I mean, even Slay getting beat on some things. Obviously, there were a ton of missed calls, but yeah.
I'm not going to look really at the refs for any missed call stuff. But another point here. So, the pass rush. It started out hot. It got quiet. What did they start to do, though? They wore you down. Christian McCaffrey, run the ball. Just follow Trent Williams. You knew what they were going to do, and you couldn't stop them. That's when you're in control. That's when you know you have all the power. You know what's happening. You know exactly what they're trying to accomplish, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Take their life. You're telling me you can't, with this offensive line and DeAndre Swift, do something similar? I don't buy that, because your offensive line, and it all starts in the trenches, is too great. And DeAndre Swift is too good. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but behind this offensive line, he's an amazing running back. Wear the other team down. Wear Micah Parsons down. Wear any Cowboys defender down. All right. We'll see what happens. I appreciate all you guys so much. I love you to death. We'll be talking soon. I'll see you later on this weekend.